got it this morning. Spilled my whole glass of water on my bedside table. Said, okay, here we go today. And it's coming out about, yes ma'am.
Miss Lori, we've been in water our backyard for 4 days.
Huh.
Yeah, in our neighborhood, we still can't drink water. I don't know.
Something's wrong with the pipes
It's really annoying.
from the freeze. Okay, so we're talking about Pythagorean Theorem. Look up here now. We're talking about Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagoras came up with this discovery that when you have a triangle with one right angle, when you have a triangle that has one right angle, one 90-degree angle, the two sides that make up the right angle are the legs. And he called, I guess it was him that did this, the side across from the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Okay, the hypotenuse. Now, the two legs, let me see if I can get this off. The two legs are A and B, sides A and B, and the hypotenuse is always C. And what he discovered was that A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? So you can find the exact measure of the third side of a right triangle by using Pythagorean theorem. So we see that we have in number 1 on page, what page is this? 216. On number 1, we see that, I'm going to erase this now, the legs and the hypotenuse. We see that they give us the sides of the two legs, so that's A and B. So we can say 9 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. 9 squared is 81. 12 squared is 144. Now, C squared equals 81 plus 44, and that is 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 2 there, 1 there. That is 225. But that's what C squared is, remember. We have to take the square root of both sides, and the square root of 225 is 15. So this length of this hypotenuse is 15.
That's the only big square root I remember is 15.
Now, sometimes you get a square root here, the square root of 71 or something like that, right? It doesn't always come out even, but for an exact answer, you leave it as a square root. So let's everyone try numbers 2 and 3 on page 216. Page 216, number 2 and 3. You can't do that.
Boom.
start off with half these. Because I think what's going to happen to you is I'm going to have 2 extra classes. Because I take an extra science. I'm not sure if they're going to count my extra credits or not. I think they're coming. So I do a course. And no one said something to do with it. But I have 2 extra sciences. So if you think I'm going to take science next year, then you're right. I just put up 4 plus 9 set for you.
Where'd you get that clock from, Miss Laura? So where'd you get that clock from?
Julia. Okay, so Mia, what'd you get? Did you get number 2? What'd you get for number 2?
26.
26. Maxwell, how about number 3?
I got square root of 58.
Square root of 58. You didn't get that, Brandon?
I did.
Did you get the square root of 58 also? Everybody got the square root of 58? Very good, very good. That's number 3. Did you get the square root of 58?
I'm not done yet.
Oh, okay, okay. Now we're going to skip number 4 and go to 5 right now first. Because number 4 is sideways, it's harder to see. Huh? Number 5. We're skipping to number 5. We'll come back to number 4.
Wait, so number 3 is already finished.
That's okay. No. So let's take a look at this. Number 3.
It's just because there is no square root of 58. That was my question.
Yeah. Very good, very good.
Check that out, Max. Teacher now.
Yeah. Very good, very good. I tell you, half the challenge of teaching math is understanding a student's question.
I will not answer the question if it's not.
Okay, so now if we take a look right here, we have the hypotenuse in one leg, right? We have the hypotenuse in one leg. Now let's review this. 2 plus 5 equals 7, right? A part plus a part equals a whole. If I don't know one of my parts, I can start with my whole, subtract one part, and it gives me the other part, doesn't it? Those are our fact families from a long time ago. Does that make sense, Patrick? That's our fact families from a long time ago. Part plus part equals whole. Whole minus one part equals the other part. Marissa, does that make sense? Okay, so now we see if we call this A and this B, it doesn't matter which one's A and which one's B. We can say A squared plus 6 squared equals 24 squared, right? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. The hypotenuse is always C. Okay, so we see we have part plus part equals whole. So we know that when we have this situation, we can start with our whole, subtract one part, and it will give us the other part, won't it? Start with our whole, subtract one part, and it will give us our other part.
So why'd you put the whole there?
Start with our whole, subtract one part. You see, start with our whole, subtract one part, and it will give us our other part. So this is the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. When one of the numbers they give us is the hypotenuse, we don't do it this way, we do it this way. What's 24 squared?
576.
576. Minus 6 squared is 36 equals A squared. 576 minus 36 should be 540, right?
It is.
Okay, now we're going to take the square root of both sides, And we get that A equals the square root of 540. Now, there is no square root of 540, is there?
Nope.
But remember, we have to simplify this. Remember that we always have to simplify our radicals. So, I can see right now it's times 10, right? 10 times 54, because there's that. And 10 is 2 times 5. And 54 is 6 times 9. This one's prime. This one's prime. 6 is 2 times 3. 9 is 3 times 3. Does everyone see how I did that? You think you can do it? Okay. So now I'm just going to put them in order. 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 5. 540, this equals 540. Every pair I have, I take one out front. Every pair I have, I take one out front. 2 times 3 is 6. And what I have left under here is a 3 and a 5. Then that's 3 times 5 is 15. So let's practice simplifying these radicals. Let's practice a few of those, just on the side.
What happened to that thing, like you could go like times 2 divided by 2 to get to like the hypotenuse or something else?
Times, oh, those are the special triangles. We'll be working on those too. Yeah. Those are two special triangles. Yeah.
Where did you get 6?
2 times 3, because I had a pair of 2s, so I brought a 2 out front, and I had a pair of 3s, so I brought a 3 out front.
Okay.
Simplify these two radicals for me. Simplify these two radicals for me. Start at 480. Can you divide it by 2?
Yeah.
Put 480 divided by 2 in your calculator.
Okay.
So 480 is the same thing as 2 times 240, huh? So write 2 times 240.
Okay. Do you do 240 divided by 2 too?
Uh-huh. So let's take a look. I've been there. I have been there. And what I tell myself is, okay, I'm going to stop and I'm going to work on this until I master it. And I'm just going to work on this and work on this until I totally get it.
Do we have to divide it by 2?
Well, it's going to have to be divided by 2 at some point.
No, like at the bottom, if there's a number, like I got 15. Can I divide it by 3?
Yeah.
If it can be divided by 3, yeah. Oh, yeah, you have to. All prime numbers. Yeah. So, Marissa, let's take this one step at a time. First of all, we want to break this down to prime numbers. Prime numbers are, the first few prime numbers are 2, 3, 5, 7, and 11. Numbers that only have 2. 1 times 2 is the only way you can get to 2. 1 times 3, only way you can get there. 1 times 5, only way you can get to here. 1 times 7. 9 is not prime because it's 3 times 3, right? You have 9, 1 times 9, but you also have 3 times 3. So 9 is not prime, right? Okay, so now I'm looking to break this down to its primes. So I'll start with 2. Yep, 2 times 240, right? Because when you did 480 divided by 2, it equaled 240. 480 divided by 2 equals 240, so 2 times 240 equals 480, right? Now, 2 is prime, so we keep a hold of that one, but 240 is definitely not prime. Is it divisible by 2? Yes, it is. And when you put 240 divided by 2 into your calculator, you get 2 times 120, don't you? Right? So 2 is prime, so you hold on to that one. 2 is prime, you hold on to that one. But 120 is probably not prime, especially since it's an even number. 2 is the only even prime number. So we divide it by 2, and we get 2 times 60, right? Now, 2 is prime, 2 is prime, 2 is prime, so we keep those. 60 can still be divided by 2, and that's 2 times 30, right? Does that make sense? So we're going to keep our 2's. We have 4 2's now. 30 can be broken down again by 2's. 2 times 15. Right? So we have 1 2, 2 2's, 3 2's, 4 2's, 5 2's. Now 15, it's not divisible by 2, is it? But it's divisible. Let's go to our next prime number. Is it divisible by 3? Yes, it is. 3 times 5. Now, 3 and 5 are both prime, so I'm done. So 480 is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5. Does that make sense? Because I have 5 2's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 3 and a 5. So now, every time for a square root, every time I have 2, I bring 1 out front. Every time I have a pair, I bring 1 out front. But I don't have any more pairs, do I? So I can only bring out cross out 2 sets of 2, and bring out, every time you take a pair out of here, you put 1 out front. Every time you take a pair out of here, you take 1 out front. Okay, so now 2 times 2 is 4, and what do we have left over? 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 times 5 is 30. Does that make sense? So it's just breaking this down and then taking out pairs of them. So now try 500. Try the square root of 500. And then y'all try 3 and 4.
Well, I just started off by dividing by 10.
Yeah, that's fine too.
I think somehow I went too fast and I added like 2. And I ended up with 6 2's.
Yeah, that's the problem when you don't do it in order. Sometimes you'll.
Nah, dog. Nah, because it'll come out. Just do it.
Okay, slow down. Is 500 divisible by 2?
Yeah, I have that. I have it.
2 times. 2 times what?
2 times 50. Oh, what?
2 times what?
250.
Okay, so 2 is prime, so keep your 2, bring it down.
Oh.
Is 250 prime? Probably not. Is 250 divisible by 2?
Yes.
Hold on, I'm talking to Marissa. It's okay. Why don't y'all come and get another calculator? You want to catch?
I got it.
Thank you, Maxwell. So 250 is 2 times what, Marissa?
125.
So now you have 2 times 2 times 125, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now so 2 is prime, you're going to keep it. 2 is prime, you're going to keep it, right? Now 125 is not divisible by 2, is it? Because it's odd. Is it divisible by 3? Put it in your calculator, see if it's divisible by 3. No. It is?
No.
125 is divisible by 3? 1, 2, 5. Yeah, I didn't think so. I'm like, wait, what do you mean yes? So it's not divisible by 3. So let's go to the next prime number. Is 125 divisible by 5?
Yeah, it's 25.
Okay, so
So is it 2 times 2 times 2 is 25?
no. 125 is divisible by 5. And what does it equal?
25.
So it's 5 times 25. Because you did 125 divided by 5. Right, Marissa?
How many 2's would I have now?
Hold on, let's take a look at this and see. We have 500 here. Let me just erase this. Hold on. I'm going to show you. 2 times 250. So you carry this 2 down, and 250 is 2 times 125. Right? So you have a 2 and you have a 2. Those you keep. Now just ignore them. You're done with those. Now you said 125 divided by 5, right? So this is 5 right here. 5 times what now equals 125? 5 times 25, right? Because 125 divided by 5 equals 25.
I have that.
Okay, so you see you have your 2 2's and you have a 5 and you have a 25. Now 2 is prime and 2 is prime and 5 is prime, but 25, we're on 5 now. We're finished with 2 and 3.
And you have another 5. So the answer is going to be 2 times 2 times 5 times 5.
Well, look right here. What does 25 break down to?
5.
25 doesn't just break down to 5. 25 doesn't become 5. It becomes 5 times 5. And so look right here. Instead of writing 25, I'm writing 5 times 5. It's the same thing as 5 times 5, isn't it? 25, I can write it as 25 or I can write it as 5 times 5. Same thing. So now you have 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5. Right? 2 times 2 times 5 times 5 times 5. Now you have a pair right here. You bring it out front. You have a pair right here. You bring it out front. Does that make sense? You have a pair of 2's. So you bring one out front. And a pair of 5's.
Start from the actual number.
So you bring one out front. Okay? So now, 2 times 5 is 10. And what do we have left over in here? Just a 5. So you see, right here you got confused, Marissa, about how many 2's, but only keep what you have. You see, 125 was the same thing right here as writing 5 times 25, wasn't it? You see, we're just replacing each thing with a pair of factors. Okay, try 3 and 4 for me.
Okay, look. So we got 107, right? Is that the answer?
It's
Like,
impossible.
we divided 535 by 5.
I went all the way up.
And
I went all the way up until 20. Okay.
Yeah, and then I did
This is the only possible answer.
Well, and the thing is, you don't have to go all the way up to 20. You have 5 times 107, okay?
Yeah.
That's it.
So this is 5 times 107. 5 is prime. Is 107 prime? Is it divisible by 2?
No.
It's not even. Is it divisible by 3? 7 plus 1 is 8. No. Not divisible by 5. Now, you think about it. 10 times 10 is 100, right? So, you're not going to go much past that. 11 times 11 is 121. 10 times 11 is 110. So, you're not going to go to 12 times 12 is 144. Or 12 times 10 is 120. You see, you don't have to go to those big numbers because you're way past 107. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm glad you asked that. So now, Brandon, your question. The square root of 535, Marissa, look right here. The square root of 535 is just 5 times 107. So it can't be simplified because you don't have a pair. So your answer is just, yes, the square root of 535.
like
One
work
goes
on
to 2 or 3
credit
times,
score doesn't
so.
go down with credit karma. I'm not having a credit karma. I already have.
2, 3 bucks.
She's like, let me count this one thing.
That's right.
She wants to check her credit card, but now
Yeah,
I'm looking.
yeah,
She's
all
like,
about one. So
why are they
that's
doing
right.
that?
You can't count 2, 3, so.
That's what I got this new thing. It's like, like a button. I want one of these buttons. They found this dog in the middle of the street. And then, like, 3 days later, after they found it, she gave her dog its little puppies. And it was like, 1, 2, 3. It's a lab, and they don't know what that is. I think they look like they're pets. So I think it's a lab. And
What?
They call it that.
You can
She's a
collect.
really combination. That's cute. And they're
By
like,
hay, by 5.
they're like 3 years old now.
Just when you multiply the 5 times 7.
I want that one. So I'm like,
It's
oh my God. Was it
5
really
times
big?
2
This is the
times
rock
7
thing.
because there it is.
This is the one.
1 7.
You can barely even see him.
You can buy that.
He's the cutest little thing ever with the line.
Why are you doing? Because you gotta add them up. When's that about?
I swear to God, that was the one story with like 2
Okay,
hours.
because there's 2 2.
What do you
It was like, and there was these that I found too. Look how little.
7. You don't just.
I'm looking over puppies.
How do you
This
get
was
that?
German Shepherd. I'm looking over.
Yeah, you
Oh, you're
can't
going
use
to
it. You only take,
I really need to put that someplace else, huh?
yeah.
Digging in my shirt.
Pair of
I
two.
didn't know like technical.
If Gabe is bringing us home, or whoever's bringing us home, I can just
You bring that 2 out front, alright?
have him stop and I can
Two
dig
5
holes
and
right after we
17,
get out of class.
so
I appreciate it.
times 5.
Because I don't want Paul trying to do it.
What? Yeah, someone's on the phone.
Put it inside the box.
Wait, oh.
Put it in a little check mark.
Dude, this dude is doing an
Like a
investigation.
side.
What?
And he's like,
Huh?
so he asked me to
V with a
my
continuous
uncle
line.
did an
Yeah,
investigation over
that's
some.
that's exactly what that is.
It's like someone's writing a V and
That's
fell
like,
asleep.
he just flat.
What's the matter?
Oh,
He just
Gabe
flat.
was trying to tell me something, but nothing's sending
So
back.
your name Victor Flower.
Just the
Poor
internet.
Vicky.
My phone's being stupid.
Okay, so any questions? Miss Marissa? Okay.
I had the answer. I don't know if I'm right though.
What did you get?
2 times 2 times 2 times 5 times 17.
Now you have to take a pair of twos out and put one out front, right?
For which one is that?
Let's take a look and see. Let's take a look at this and see, Marissa.
Okay. I didn't know if that was right because I didn't know if you could keep the 17.
Well, you can't do anything with it, right?
Okay.
This is 50 and 35, 85, is that right? Yep. So you have 2 times 2 times 2, Marissa, 3 twos.
Times 5 times 17.
And this is 5 times 17. Did everybody get that?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, this would be under here, right?
Oh, what you mean? Yeah, I divided by 10. That's why I didn't get 85. I was thinking what else.
Well, it doesn't matter how you. Now, you have a pair of twos, so you put one out front. You don't have any other pairs, do you?
No.
So the 2 stays out front, and you multiply this.
Oh. Okay.
Gabe just
I think that was my
told me to call him.
fault.
Can I go step over?
Yeah, make sure everything's already actually.
Yeah, boy.
Do we take a break?
Yes.
Okay, I'll take a break. Break, you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah. really big fight. Now, we need to do I think I need to so that we really have some security cameras around the house. In case these are lost with a garage with a house, we actually do this. And now, so we come back in the garage, we like smoke it.
So what did you say about 17? I had like an aha moment whenever you were in the process of talking about it. I saw what I did wrong in my problem.
Okay, so then you had 2 times 2 times 2
Times 5 times 17.
times 5 times 17. So you take one pair of 2's out, right?
Alright, so that's it. Alright, I know what to do now. Because what I did at first is that instead of putting 170, I put 107. So I just stopped there. But then, alright.
And so then you're going to multiply 2 times 5 times 17, right?
Someone thought I was wearing hearing aids. That's what I thought.
Does that make sense, Mia? Okay.
Like, I'm not gonna kill anybody. Like, what? Like, that would become my conscious for the rest of my life. I feel smart. You know that? Like, I'll be like, what the hell? But Dad's like, if anyone like me, I'll fix you. Thanks, Dad. That's reassuring. Because, like, I'm going to like, except for Tim. It's freaky. Like, if you see Jeff, I just look at the sheet. No, like, if they come in, I'm not going to put your brother No, my dad, there's this dude, he robbed us, and like, we have him here, we call this because it's one of my dad's ex-friends, and like, we're in a war with him right now, it's kind of fun.
Trash.
It's like, whoever finds someone first gets killed. That's what it is, really. My dad found him at the gas station, and he was really good. He was really, and it's like,
Look, you think that's
my arms are like that, and I'm like, I can't even walk. What did you do?
65 seconds. 1 hour.
I hurt my arms, I don't like your legs, I can't see my legs get something. You look like you're pregnant, you're like wobbly. You're wobbly. You should like walk on the bottom.
Stairs this morning.
I can imagine. No, Mom, I'm in. My mom goes, are you at school? No, I'm at home. I just live it. I like how she does not answer my question. But then she asks me a question. No, my answer your question doesn't answer my question. This girl, okay, she's 15. Look how like, okay, this is her son. But she's like younger than me, like she's just turned 15. But she's really pretty. She looks like and we have the same name. And her son's name is like Shaw. Yeah, she just turned 15. And he's about to be.
The name starts with a G. G stands for game.
I'm dyeing my hair. No, do you want to go to the mall with me this Saturday?
Look them up or like look up.
Are you busy?
Look up.
Because at that song, we were going to go with him today. Because Mom's like very, because he's got this too.
Yeah,
Mom's like very,
look up DDC,
Mom can be there.
on my own.
Just we're walking around the house.
It just came out. And he's dropping a new one. It's called like Donkey Kong. It's called like Donkey Kong or something like that. It's fire.
Wait, your parents can meet my parents so they can just like see each other.
That's not saying you. Yeah, I listened to that before. This is like a letter.
My bra is like cutting me. Freaking hurt.
Yeah, alright, what's it? Betrayal?
I'm gonna walk around with this.
It's fire.
Betrayal.
Look up DDC, dimension.
Yeah, I don't like
It's
it.
so good.
Now I need one. You need to say when you have napkins.
You know, you want to listen to it.
Do you like a beignet?
Wait, what song?
No, thank you. I'm off sugar. My sugar's way high.
Don't make it fun, people. I don't want to eat your food.
Yeah, I've heard that dude before. First day out. Yeah, first day out.
Look how cute these puppies are. Like, tell me that you're not watching. You saw them.
No, I know.
What
I
are
know
they?
this first day out, but
They think they're pigs and llamas. I really want one. I know, I really want one. Like,
He does it for
I really want one. No, it's okay. It's not like my dad stuck his hand in the oven. My dad goes, the oven's not hot. Like, Dad, are you stupid? Our oven locked while it was on, and we couldn't open our oven, and my mom burnt the food, and it was like, the whole pan, it was like, our oven's frozen. So if you don't keep opening it while it's making the food, it'll lock itself. Like, it locks itself. So annoying. So I forgot that I was cooking food, and left it in there, and my oven locked, or rubbing the oven off, like, to take it out. I'm constantly, like, I'm scared the house is gonna catch a fire. You won't turn off, like, you have to unlock it. Yeah. And I'm kind of opening the oven. I'm calling my mom. I'm like, Mom, the oven is not open. It's on. Like, okay, well, go get water and like spread the oven. The oven is closed, Mom. Have some common sense. She's like, okay, well, I'll call the chief and come fix the oven. No, you need to get a new oven. Oh.
That's something wrong.
I know, and then like, a fire got and the whole pan was really burnt through. And there was a fire in our oven. You could see it like flames. I'm like, thank God we had something fire extinguishers. We had like 3 in the house because my sister's light bulb went out one time and it lit the fan on fire. Like it's
So, Mr. Patrick, what are we going to do about you and your tests?
I can make it up whenever.
You got it, but you've got to start passing the ones we're doing, huh?
I ain't even here yet.
Good job. Very good job. You're getting there.
yes, ma'am. I meant to do that instead of. I meant to do that instead of what I did. Whenever you did it, I was like, I should have done that.
Yeah. Remember, I told y'all I wanted to do that because that's important because it could be 49.5.
Yes, ma'am.
You know.
Yes, ma'am. I understand.
And it can't be 50. Miss Alexis, you got to catch up in geometry, huh? Yeah. And you too.
I know.
You've got to. You were running out of time. We're past half year. Miss Mia, here you
I
go.
can't even take a test anymore. Like, I'm so tired of myself.
We're past half year, y'all. And we're going back and reviewing this.
Lower grade than you.
Twisted.
Okay, so let's get back to it now.
Like, I thought you understood.
So now we've reviewed Pythagorean and its converse. You don't like geometry? You like algebra?
I like what we're learning. I like what we're learning. The newest stuff we just learned.
Well, we're going to get back to that.
Do I really want to bring it in my mom? No.
So now if we look at page 219, does anyone have page 219 done?
I know.
We want to practice that. Now let's take a look at page 220. They give us, look at page 220 at the bottom. Look with Brandon. Look at page 220 at the bottom. It gives you A and B for number 6. Number 7 gives you A and C. So what is your equation going to be, Patrick, for number 7? A is 9 and C is 13. So let's draw a picture of that to get a visual. We can make this A and this B, right? Hold on just a second. We can make this A and this B, right? The 2 legs, right? because the hypotenuse is always C. And it says A is 9. Is that right, Patrick?
Yes.
And C is 13?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your question, Marissa?
Is that 13 squared or is it just 13?
It's just 13. You're going to square it. Now, Patrick, remember, when they give us the hypotenuse, this is our whole, isn't it? Right? It's this squared plus this squared equals this squared, right? So the converse is our whole squared minus one of our parts squared will give us our other part squared. So what would the equation be? Well, we'd start with our whole, wouldn't we?
13 squared.
Minus one part will give us our other part. You see that? Our whole minus one part will give us our other part.
Now you gotta reduce it after you get it.
Yeah. Is that 98? Did y'all get 98? Not 98, 88. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, got another 10 right there. So we take the square root of both sides, and we get B equals the square root of 88. Now we're going to take this off to the side. Now, Marissa, I don't have to start with 2. I know that 88 is 8 times 11, right? I know that. Now, 11 is prime, so I can hang on to that, but 8 is 2 times 4. And then 2 is prime, and 11 is prime, but 4 is 2 times 2. Does that make sense, Marissa, how to do that? I'm breaking each number down, 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 down until I get to prime numbers. So here's one pair right here that I'm going to pull out front. There are no more pairs, so I'm going to multiply 2 times 11 is 22. So B equals 2 times the square root of 22. Very good, very good. Patrick, what's the equation going to be for number 8?
30 squared minus 18 squared equals 8 squared.
Very good, very good, very good. Mia, what's the equation going to be for number 10?
10 squared minus 6 squared equals b squared.
Very good, very good. Alexis, what's going to be the equation for number 9?
12 squared minus 5 squared equals
12 squared minus 5 squared. Remember, we only do the converse when we have the hypotenuse. Look at number 9. You have A and B. You have the 2 legs. So what would your equation be? That was a trick question, wasn't it? Pay attention now. What would the equation be? 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. Just straight Pythagorean. When we have the 2 legs, it's just straight Pythagorean. Does that make sense, Marissa? Does that make sense? When we have the 2 legs, it's just straight Pythagorean. 5 squared plus 12 squared equals c squared. So what would the equation be for number... Let's go to page 221. What would the equation, Marissa, be for number 1?
Number 1 on 220, right?
221.
So it'll be 13 squared minus 12 squared equals b squared.
Or x squared in this case, huh? But yeah, b squared. But you see how they put an x there? It doesn't matter what letter. But that's right. That's right. Very good. Very good. Very good. Brandon, for number 2, on page 221, what would the equation be?
4 squared plus root squared.
Equals x squared. Sullivan? No, Maxwell. Sullivan. Who did? Neither one of y'all went. Sullivan, what's the equation for number 3?
14.7 squared minus 11.9 squared.
Very good. Very good. Maxwell, how about number 4?
15.4 squared minus 6.3 squared.
Very good. Very good. Patrick, how about number 5?
I'm never wrong.
What'd you get on the test?
He is getting you back. What do you get for number 5, Patrick? What's the equation? Very good, very good, very good. Now, let's take a look at number 8 on page 221. Everyone try number 8.
Whoa. I'm kidding.
Please try again. Alright, don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. I want to do it. I want to figure it out. I got it. We got this. Alright, what's the square root of 16 by G?
There's no square root of 16 anywhere. This is a square root of 6.
Not bad, not bad, not bad.
What do you think? Well, let's just start. What do you think?
I already got the answer.
Okay, let's just start, Mia. We know this squared plus this squared equals this squared, but we have this one, and we don't have this one. So what's my equation going to be, Mia? My whole
4 squared minus square root of 6 squared equals a
squared.
squared.
Don't forget the squared. Now, you know 4 squared is 16, right? Minus, now what is the square root of 6 squared? That's what's getting you, huh?
Yeah.
What is the square root of 6 squared? Look, this cancels this.
So it's just 6.
Just 6.
Are we allowed to have decimals? So it's decimals on here?
No, we leave our answer in exact form, which is we leave it in the square root form, don't we?
Okay.
So this is just 6. That's what was throwing you, huh?
Yeah.
That's still going to give you a squared though?
Still going to give you a squared, because I followed the rules, didn't I, Patrick? The square root of 6 squared, this cancels this out, doesn't it? Because think about this. The square root of 6 squared is the square root of 6 times the square root of 6, isn't it? Which is the square root of 6 times 6. You see that, Mia? And the square root of 6 times 6 is just 6, isn't it? You have 2. You take 2 out to bring 1 out front.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so the answer is the square root of 10, right?
Square root of 10. 16 minus 6 is 10 equals A.
Close. That's a shame. You got 2 square roots.
Can you simplify that?
10 is just 2 times 5. You can't pull out a pair, can you?
That becomes 10.
Yeah. So you're done. You're done. Now, let's turn to page 222. This is very often the type of question you will see on the ACT. They're going to take, say it again, 222. Well, I haven't started with page 222 yet. We're just going to... This is the type of question that you're going to see on the ACT. They're usually not going to give you something straightforward. Okay? They're going to twist it up a little bit. And so if you look at page 222, this is sometimes a question on the ACT. We have 9, 12, and 15. Do you think is that a right triangle?
How do you tell?
Well, if it's a right triangle, then 9 squared plus 12 squared equals 15 squared, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You see that? So you check it out.
It equals it or it's more than it?
It equals. Pretend like it's a right angle. Put a right angle in there, and forget that the 15 is there. How are you going to solve for that third side, Brandon? Pretend like you have to find that third side. How are you going to find that third side? Look at number 9. Put a right angle in there. Cross out the 15. Pretend like you don't have that answer. Now, how would you find that third side?
12 squared plus 9 squared.
And what does that equal? You see it? You can prove it, can't you? Help him, Patrick.
I don't understand anything that just happened. You give it a right angle, cross out the 15.
You have to take the square root of it, don't you?
Just solve it like normal.
Say it again.
Solve it like normal.
So you check yourself. Does 9 squared plus 12 squared equal 15 squared? Does that make sense? So what would you ask yourself? Everyone look at number 10. Now this one's a little bit tricky. Miss Marissa, tune in now. Tell me if number 10, if that's a right triangle.
I already have it written down as yes.
Do you have your work done?
I don't know.
Check yourself and see. You don't think it is?
No, it is.
You think it is?
All right, Max. You don't have proving it. It's job.
I don't know how I would have done it.
We have 10, 2, square root 39, 16. Right? This is what we have. We want to know, is this a right angle? So we ask ourselves, does this squared plus this squared equal this squared? Does 10 squared plus 2 times the square root of 39 squared, does that equal 16 squared? 10 squared is 100. Now, 2 times the square root of 39 squared, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm just busy.
It's, look at 2 times the square root of 39 squared. It's 2 times the square root of 39 times 2 times the square root of 39, right? You see that? You see that? So it's 2 times 2 times 39, right? 2 times 2, and the square root of 39 times the square root of 39 is 39. And 4 times 39 is 160 minus 4 is 156, I think. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And 16 squared is 256. 100 plus 156 does equal 256, so it is a right triangle. What?
2 times 2 times 39.
Okay, let's take a look at this.
That'd be 556.
No, because look at this. 2 times the square root of 39 is 2 times the square root of 39 times 2 times the square root of 39, right? So this is 2 times 2, and then the square root of 39 times the square root of 39 is 39, right? What's 4 times 39?
556.
No. You're doing
Oh, yeah, I get it.
you're doing 4 times 39. I'm not sure.
156.
I think you're doing like 39 times 39 or something like that.
I think, yeah, something like that, yeah. You see that? But the square root of 39 times the square root of 39 is just 139, isn't it? So when you see something like this, look right here. Look right here. So when you see something like this, when you see 2 times the square root of 39 and it's squared, It's 2 squared times whatever number's underneath there. Because this squared is just this, right? 39 squared, the square root of 39 is just squared is just 39, isn't it? Does that make sense? Okay, so look right here. This is 2 times the square root of 39 squared. Means this times itself twice, right, Mia? Times 2 times the square root of 39. Now, this is this times this times this times this, right? So I can put that in a different order. 2 times 2 times the square root of 39 times the square root of 39. I'm trying to talk over your voice. I'm trying to talk over y'all's voice. So I just put it in a different order, right? Now, 2 times 2 is 4, right? And what's the square root of 39 times the square root of 39? The square root of 39 times the square root of 39, which is just 39, right? So that's why it's just 2 times 2 times. So when you get to this, it's just 2 squared and square root of 39 squared. 2 squared is 4. The square root of 39 squared is 39.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
A little bit more.
So
What's throwing you think?
Just all the square roots and squares.
I know.
But like the general idea makes sense. I understand
He
the
didn't have a
general.
guy.
Yeah, he didn't have any.
He just made it
He
up.
just made it up.
That
So
dude-
Patrick, does that make sense?
College, go to college.
Very good. Very good. Those square roots when you, in Pythagoreans give you a little bit of trouble, huh? Yeah. Yeah.
Like they make math with outside of school.
Now, everybody tune in. Everybody tune in. Tune in. Look at page 223. Look at page 223. What happens if you have legs that are measures of 3 and 4? A and B are 3 and 4. What is C? Figure it out.
Wait, what?
A and B are 3 and 4.
5.
Because 3 squared plus 4 squared equals 25. Now listen up. These are called Pythagorean triples. These are the numbers of the side of the. These are the lengths of the sides of right triangles that will come out to an even number, no radical.
No matter what.
When you have 3 and 4, for legs, when you have 3 and 4 for legs, 3 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. 9 plus 16 equals c squared. 25 equals c squared. So you take the square root of both sides, and 5 equals c. 3, 4, 5. It's not a radical, is it? It's not. It doesn't have a square root sign. It comes out to an even number, right?
I like those.
A rational number, it's called. These are called Pythagorean triples. Now, so if you take a look right here, what if I double this one and double this one? Will this one be doubled? 6 and 8. That's right, they will be.
Yes, indeed.
If I double this one and I double this one is 10. If I triple this one, 9, and I triple this one, 12, then this one is 15. These are called Pythagorean triples. They're the sides that come out to even numbers. Now, on the ACT, there are 2 that you see one or the other every single ACT.
Wait, so does that mean 4 plus 3 equals 5?
That's what I'm gonna tell my mom.
No.
See what she thinks.
4 squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared.
what?
I'm gonna tell my mom that 4 plus 3 equals 5 and see what she says.
Because you can do the math and prove it wrong.
No, because it's not 4 plus 3. It's 4 squared plus 3 squared.
Right here, it's 3 and 4. Alright, so I'm just saying, like,
Now, the 2 that you need to memorize, for the ACT are the 3, 4, 5 and the 5, 12, 13. Because 5 squared plus 12 squared equals 13 squared. These are the two that you have to memorize for the ACT. You're going to see one of them on the ACT every single ACT. And it's going to be part of a bigger problem. Now, if they give you 5 and 13, you can just use Pythagorean to figure out 12. 13 squared minus 5 squared will give you 12 squared. But it saves you time if you see the Pythagorean triple. Now, they will give you 3, 4, 5, or they'll give you 6, 8, 10. They'll give you 5, 12, 13, or they'll give you 10, 24, 26. I've seen 10, 24, 26 a lot, and 3, 4, 5 a lot. But those are the four that they'll give you. They'll use one of these or one of these doubled. And I've never seen any other triple on the ACT. So you need to memorize those two triples. Okay? Circle those two triples. 3.
Oh, I already have them underlined.
Written on the board, Brandon. Written on the board. He's so bad.
I have them underlined.
10, 24, 26.
Now, on page 222, save 15 through 18 for later. On page 222, save 15 through 18 for later.
I still have next week on that. A month ago.
Now, let's go to page 224. Let's go to page 224. Now, very often, they'll give you a Pythagorean problem by giving you a square or a rectangle and asking you for the diagonal. They will give you the dimensions of a square or a rectangle. They'll tell you, what's number 2 there? Read number 2 to me. Jovi what, Brandon?
Jovi is laying a foundation for a garage with
Listen.
dimensions 10m by 6m. To check that the foundation is square, Jovi measures a diagonal. How long should the diagonal be? Give the answer.
6 meters by 10 meters.
I got the answer here.
You did that homework? Very good. 6 meters by 10 meters. So, suppose you're Jovi, and you want to make sure that it's exactly squared off. These are right angles. Okay? You want to make sure that this is a right angle. If this is a right angle, then this will be a right angle, because this is 10 and this is 6. And so if this is a right angle, then they'll all be right angles. Okay? So how much, what measure should he get for his diagonal? Well, you're going to pretend like it's a right triangle. You have the two legs, 6 squared plus 10 squared equals c squared. The diagonal is the hypotenuse. 36 plus 100 equals c squared. 136 equals c squared. Now, they're asking for a decimal number here. Very good. So you're going to take the square root of both. And what is it, Sullivan? Sullivan, what is it?
11.7.
11.7.
11.7.
Might get somebody killed if you don't pull it off from building that garage, man.
So you'll very often, settle down, with these word problems, they're going to give you the shape of a rectangle. If they give you the diagonal, they've given you the hypotenuse, the whole, right? If they give you the diagonal, they've given you the hypotenuse. Now, everyone try number 5. Number 5 and number 6, actually. Everyone try numbers 5 and 6.
What? 13 and 9.
It's like, that's 10.
You don't know what I'm thinking.
what goes
So
there?
10 squared is 100.
So let's take a look at number 5. I know sometimes these words get me. Sometimes they don't. It's not you, it's them. They didn't word it very well.
You said they were asking for decimals here?
Well, you have to look at each one to see.
Yeah, all of them say,
Give your answer to one decimal.
So that's what you have to look for. If they ask for a decimal, you give a decimal. If they don't ask for a decimal, you leave your answer exact, which is with the radical. A decimal is rounding off. The radical is your exact answer. That makes a big difference in college because they're very specific. And if you give one instead of the other, it is completely wrong. No partial credit. None at all. Because it's a computer program.
Did you hear, stop selling typos?
Max, that was a joke. Yes.
Don't think it was.
Wait, what?
Oh,
They stopped selling what?
Tide Pods.
Because
People are eating.
I don't think they're stopping selling them, huh?
no.
You think they are? You think they're stopping?
Something like you doubt
They
it.
put them in cases.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. I mean,
Multi-million
you can go drink ammonia and kill yourself. I mean, you know.
You know,
They're taking all
drink
the
each.
videos of people eating Tide
No, like
Pods.
people are doing it
Hopefully
for fun.
so. Oh, I know.
People used to drink bleach.
He told me, I was like, yes, let's go.
Stupid.
Exactly, so it's Tide Pods.
They're pretty tasty.
They didn't stop
though.
selling bleach.
They're pretty
Okay,
tasty.
look up here.
You ever had a Tide Pod?
Maxwell, not appropriate. Okay, look at number 5.
That kid. I ate Tide Pods.
So, we have a mountain here. Okay, we have a mountain. The sloped mountain road. So, what? Look right here. I want y'all to pay attention. Pay attention. Stop. Pay attention. Well, we're going to see. It should be, but they didn't do that yet. A sloped mountain road is 13 kilometers long. Okay? And it's the sloped road, so it must be on a slope, so it's going down. It covers a horizontal distance. So the horizontal distance is from here on the earth to here on the earth, right? That's the horizontal distance that it has covered. You started here and you went way down here, but how far did you really travel in distance on the earth? You started here and you traveled there. Does that make sense? That's what they're talking about when they say it covers a horizontal distance of 9 kilometers. And you see the right triangle there now? Yeah. So it covers a horizontal distance of 9. What is the change in elevation? If you started here and you ended here, what was the change in your elevation from here to here? You see that?
So then you're just trying to find like A or B.
Yeah. So what would the equation be, Mia?
13 squared minus 9 squared squared.
Yeah. And we just did this one, didn't we? And that was 8 times 11, which ended up being 2 times the square root of 22.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, I'm not asking for that. You're asking for a
Oh, that's right. What is the square root of 88?
9.4.
9.4. So draw the picture and just try and figure out what they're saying. Okay, everyone try number 6. Draw pictures if you need to.
I wouldn't know because I never get hot.
We know.
I wouldn't know. Man, it's not hot.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought noticed that that cat is stretching.
Y'all, shh.
Not funny.
Shh. Now they're looking for the same measurement here that they were in that one, huh, Mia? The distance from the top of the ladder to the ground, huh? Marissa, is this making sense?
Yeah. I already did it.
You already did it?
Yeah, I can do this.
Very good, very good.
Falling apart. Low-key. I know, right? I'm falling asleep in the car.
Marissa, what did you get?
9.8.
Very good, very good.
So,
For number 6,
I know, I see you dizzy every day.
leave a 10-meter ladder against the tree.
So that's your
C.
hypotenuse, yeah.
4 is 96.
It is 2
and then
meters from the base of the
Square
tree.
root
probably
So that would be
I think I took 2 minutes.
9.8.
From the base of the tree to the bottom of the ladder.
Oh, okay.
And like, I hate whenever the medicine gives you side effects. I get so dizzy because I took that medicine. I'm like,
And this tells us how far the ladder reaches up the tree, doesn't it?
Is this C, A, or B?
Small intestine. You're lying.
Like, you know how you put like A equals or C?
Draw a picture.
I forgot which one.
No.
C is the hypotenuse.
I'm so
Okay, so it's A.
What's A?
The
Oh.
answer is
A or B?
You're large. You're small intestine. You're reach.
Either one.
7 hours long. It was something weird. Like, I heard.
Yeah, A and B are interchangeable.
I can't sing.
So, are we on break or are we just getting loud?
Oh, y'all just get not just getting, y'all have been.
Sometimes I can't tell.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
Small intestine is 276 inches
Mine's the smaller touch. How big is the big intestine?
long. How big is the big intestine when it's 6 foot tall?
I don't think that's so far yet.
Let me think. I think it does.
No, because like, I think it's just if you're growing.
You can be a midget.
And yeah, that there's just a thing about it.
I can't do my eyes for my life. I always start with a 9.
Well, a midget probably has
I have
the same size.
I would, in my face, I would know.
It's different. But a grown person is the same like height of
Brandon, what did you get?
9.8.
Very good. Did you get that?
Feet long.
Wait, what'd you get, Brandon?
9.8.
Yeah.
So did I. Oh,
Your intestine
Big
is
bag.
23 feet long. Your little intestine.
I'm a big
5 minutes
intestine.
until I
I'm
go
a
to the doctor and make sure
We're
I'm
all
That's
solid.
crazy.
What up?
Little
How-
big.
so how big is my
Am I
big?
super picking them off?
I want to know my big intestine.
He
I don't
lives
care about the little one. I'll cut
in
that out.
Now, look right here. This is your homework. These are a lot of pages of homework because you should have these already done.
I already have that.
I have some done.
So you need to finish whatever you don't have done.
On which page?
It's written on the board.
I got all of them.
Well, you better call me. I'm so sorry. I know you forget all the time, but you have to call me.
I got 99.9975.
I had to do my work for dog last night because I forgot to do my
Okay.
Like,
I want you to pull out page 205.
oh, I did.
Pull out page 205. Put your heading on it and turn it in.
I might have got some of these wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you got them wrong. Just like,
No, if you made errors, that's okay.
I think I got them right.
I just wrote yes or no.
Yes.
I didn't bubble in the bottom, but I did the word.
Oh, I don't care about the bottom.
I'm sorry, I
I
didn't
didn't even
do
do it.
You have to hand it
yes or
in.
no.
You have to hand it in.
Where do you want us to write it at?
The heading, top left-hand corner, name, date, subject, geometry homework.
I had one
Oh, we
sleeve.
have to read all the subjects.
I left my loose leaf with all the work I don't.
You have to, if you don't have your work has to be in your binder. But turn in your sheet. Put your heading at the top of it. What was the date last week? 1/16.
I put 17 instead of 18.
Looks right.
My date is awful. Just ignore my handwriting. It's like,
Wait, so why are you picking up this page?
Because we redid
I need
it.
to go to sleep.
And this is a homework check.
Hurry up.
It's been assigned 2 different times.
Has it? Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
This page. Well, 3
Okay,
different
so
really.
I need to make sure. Are you gonna call me? Or are you gonna? I will forget. Okay, I'll call you. I will forget. Okay, well, I'll FaceTime you if you don't answer.
Come and bring it to me, please, Maxwell, if you wouldn't mind.
You're gonna stab me.
No, because it
I
doesn't
have
take
someone that I can FaceTime. Like, oh, they're so annoying.
Now, y'all, even if you struggle on your tests, if you get your homework done, it brings your grade up. Your homework counts as just as much as a test grade.
We were only supposed to put true or false, right?
You have to show your work.
What's the word?
It's only asking for true or false.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
By adding and subtracting.
Yeah.
You have to show that. Yeah, you always have to show your work.
Yeah, I didn't show my work. Oh my god, I feel so small. No, it's okay, it's okay.
Say it again.
That's wrong.
Yes.
F right now.
I thought I got all that stuff right. Damn.
I don't know why. I feel so happy when I pack up and I take my
I didn't even show my work, so sorry.
Alright, well, since this is
You have to walk me out. I'm so
Miss
sorry.
Alexis, you have 276 is less than 391, but then you put yes. Come see.
Alexis, you're so confused.
Hey, Miss Lori, have some napkins.
Well, thank you, ma'am.
Wait. Okay, he's gonna still work.
Later, Gator.
My dad better be here.
Big old big bag.
So you're putting this, you didn't put an answer here. It's less, so the answer's no. It's less, so the answer's no. It's more, so the answer's yes. But you have to put your answer and then look right here. Here, this is less. It has to be more. But you put less and then you put yes, but the answer's no, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
You see? And so you're getting yourself confused there. This is equal to, so it's no. This one is less, so it's no. This one's greater, so it's yes. This one's equal, so it's no. That one's correct. And that one's no. So you forgot some of your answers, huh? Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I just wanted to show you. Make sure that you do that. Yes, you have to show your work.
She didn't talk to you. She just talked to me. Well, I might fall on the floor and get up. No.
If you have all of your true falses correct, I'm going to give you credit this time, but you must
Like I did do my work. I just got my sheet of paper.
I didn't know I was supposed to like.
But Marissa,
Just like adding.
I just put yes or no.
I can't read your handwriting on these.
You can't read my handwriting?
No, come and tell me what this says.
Alright, hold on.
Okay.
Don't leave me.
So like, what if I got like 1 or 2 wrong?
You got them all right, I think.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, wait.
Like, what does that say?
Yes.
Where's the
Do my
Y?
handwriting. That is a Y. My handwriting is really bad. I'm sorry.
You just go too fast. You
rather
see,
have
you can
kindergarten.
write it. And what is this?
That's no.
And this?
Yes.
Where's the
I
Y?
wrote so fast. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And the answer should be no.
Okay, well, I got that one wrong.
That looks like a no to me.
It might be a no. I don't know what my answers are. I didn't like.
I want you to write more neatly.
Well, I'm so dizzy. I know I probably would.
You're dizzy?
Yeah, I took my medicine. But I took too much. So like I'm super dizzy. Like I feel like I'm gonna fall over. I'm going home to go to sleep.
Well, be careful. Bye. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. I like your hair. So, I was watching a video, but then it was live. And then I never could watch it again. Oh, let me turn this off. And so, was that first one you at that